And unfortunately, Liz does not bring us a science experiment that'll bring your hair back. But
no, not quite there.
No, but we have something at least that you could be doing with your kids at home. You know,
Yes.
We've always been trying to find something for you.
Exactly, and especially with the school year going again, here's kind of a fun way to introduce science back. And it's not only going to be a fun trick, but it also ties into how weather patterns move around in our atmosphere.
Yeah.
So what you need for this is going to be a hard-boiled egg. You want to go ahead and take the shell off of it like I did for this one.
Okay.
You're also going to need a glass bottle. Oops. You're also going to need for this experiment either a match or a lighter. And since I didn't have any matches on hand, I'm just going to use a small piece of paper with the lighter as well. And we'll get to that here in a second. First though, just to make sure everything's the right size, as far as your glass container goes, it really doesn't matter the size of it as long as it's maybe a little skinnier up top and that you can set the egg on top, but it doesn't go in, even if you apply a little bit of pressure.
De-shelled hard-boiled egg.
Yes, a de-shelled hard-boiled egg should kind of maybe squish a little bit when you're putting pressure on it, but won't go in the bottle, or at least not on its own. And that's where your piece of paper and your lighter comes in handy.
Okay.
So if you have a match, that'll work just fine to strike it in a minute, but I'm going to use a little bit of a piece of paper. I just took a sticky note. You want to fold it in half enough times that it'll actually fit just inside of that bottle easily. Don't drop it in yet though. Before we do that, this is going to be where you need some parental help and supervision. Yes, I have a cup of water on hand just in case, just assuming we don't need it, but we are ready just in case. You want to very, very carefully light just the edge of the piece of paper.
All right.
Once it's ignited, just drop it in.
Okay.
Quickly grab your egg, put it on top. And now we just kind of wait and watch and see what happens. You'll notice right away we kind of get rid of the flame because we've cut off the oxygen source from this. And another way that you can do this too, if you want to make sure that you're not using the flame, is that you can actually grab a hot water. You want to make sure that it is boiling hot water that you can put inside of the cup. And then this one takes a little bit longer because you want to heat up the inside of the jar. And you can literally see from the smoke that we've heated up the inside of it. So you want to make sure you're not touching it either, because eventually, since heat expands, it's going to try to escape out of the bottle. You can see how the smoke has kind of filled everything up. So you might notice the egg on top start to adjust a little bit. And eventually what's going to happen is that we've heated things up so rapidly, and once the flame goes out, we cool things down so quickly that what we're doing is lowering the pressure inside of the jar. So sometimes it takes a few minutes for that to happen, but once the pressure is lower inside of the bottle, compared to what's going on outside, it's actually going to start to bring the egg inside of it. So we may have to let it sit here for a minute for that to start happening.
I can see.
You can see. And then another thing too is if you want to do the one that doesn't involve the fire, put the water in there. You want to have boiling hot water. You'll actually notice a little bit of condensation, or those little water droplets on the side. That's as the water starts to cool and condense, and it's actually that rapid temperature change that lowers the pressure inside the bottle. And eventually we'll see if maybe, I'm sure it'll hit during commercial break, the egg should drop right back down.
Everything.
Yes, and the way that this actually applies to our atmosphere is that weather patterns.
Oh, I can
just like
see it going.
Oh yes, it's trying.
It's going.
In our atmosphere, air flows from high pressure toward low pressure. So just like eventually the egg will drop inside the bottle, it's those areas of low pressure that draw in our new weather patterns.
Interesting. Okay, so definitely going to have an age range on this one because we're using fire or boiling water.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. Parental
just be careful.
Recommended for this one, and I'll have more on NBC4i.com for how to do experiments just like this one.
We'll be right back.